Size Business.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Snack Sized Business. I'm LB Adams, your host, and this season it has really been my joy to share conversations with you, with women who are business owners, who are entrepreneurs, or who are in management positions and are driving industry in some way. They're making a difference and a really positive impact. And so this has been really exciting for me, and I hope that you feel like it's exciting as well. So today on the Zoom, I have Grace McNally. So Grace is a musician, and she is also the manager of radio station here in Charleston. So let me give you the lowdown on Grace's 5 facts. They're pretty interesting. She was stung by a scorpion when she lived in Nicaragua. She says her second language was German. Gosh, there's so much stuff here. Her debut album, Full Circle, comes out May 4th. So we definitely will have to talk about that. She says she loves to bake focaccia. So I love to eat focaccia. So there's definitely a symbiosis there. And then her 5th fact is that she's been playing the guitar since she was 6 years old. So I hope that you will help me welcome to the Zoom, Grace McNally. Hello and welcome to Snack Size Business. Grace McNally, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a treat.
Yay! Okay, so are you in the radio station? Or are you in your recording studio right now?
This is my home studio with all the guitars on the walls.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Okay. So your 5 facts are so interesting. And there's definitely a couple that I want to circle back to for sure. But tell me about focaccia. Because really,
I'm so glad you asked that first. Focaccia is it's a Sicilian bread actually. Well, this is based on my research I've done online. It's like apparently historically it was made for the dock workers, people who work down at the dock, because it was like fishermen and people working on boats, because it was an easy and inexpensive bread, and meal, and it's filling. Yeah. It's got a lot of olive oil in it, so all the good stuff. So I enjoy making that in my free time.
So what is your favorite flavor to make?
I really like, I love a good classic garlic rosemary.
You are speaking my language now. You are speaking my language.
Right? It's so good. And it's fun because then, if it's a plain bread, I like putting melting cheese on it,
Okay, we gotta stop.
Yeah.
I may have started this too soon. Okay. All right. So let me jump into the first of our 3 questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What conversation do you wish that you'd had but did not?
Really good question. I had to think on this one for a little bit, because not one conversation comes to mind, but I think overall conversations that I don't voice, if there's something I know I need and I don't ask for it, especially, or even communicate it to whether it's like a work project or a musical collaboration or just a conversation with a person on the street. Like if there's, I have found that those conversations, I wish I had just been, more transparent, because I think there's nothing wrong with, because then it just helps the situation in total when both parties feel like they, are heard. So.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with you. So do you think that it's a question of asking for what you want or need? Is that part of it?
Yeah, I think that's basically it. Just have it. It takes some knowing yourself. I think as I've gotten older, and now I'm 30, so I've gone through my 20s of just kind of learning, what I need, what I want,
Right.
And then just,
And I think those things are steps. understanding what you need is one step, and then asking for it is another step,
Right,
It's
exactly.
evolution of a person.
Exactly.
All right. Well, great answer. Okay. Question number 2.
Thank you.
What do you love about what you do?
I love so many things. Well, so first thing that comes to mind is Ohm Radio, and one of my favorite things about being the station manager for Ohm Radio is providing a platform for people in the community, whether it's a small business, an artist, nonprofit. Like, just I love that exists, in Charleston, and
Yes.
I love being a part of it. And then I love meeting all the people that come through the studio, and just getting to meet some really interesting, movers and shakers. And so, like, that's always inspiring.
Yeah, for sure. And I have no doubt that given a radio station and that you meet a lot of interesting people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. People with something to say, something to share.
Oh, yeah.
And then musically speaking, as a musician, I really love collaborating. That's something I've been doing a lot of over the course of this project, Full Circle, that's coming out in May, my debut album. That has
shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless plug.
I'm going to give you another opportunity, so that's okay.
Thank you. That like collaboration is really amazing. I feel like I grow and learn so much every time it happens. And just the musical community here in Charleston's amazing.
Very rich.
Yeah.
Very rich. Okay, so let me circle back to the scorpion. So you were stung by, I was going to say bit by a scorpion, but that's not accurate. You were stung by a scorpion when you lived in Nicaragua. So first of all, there's multiple things to unpack here. When did you live in Nicaragua?
I lived there, it was 2017 and 2018, on and off. I would come back, make money, waiting tables, and go back and spend, as many till my money ran out, basically.
Right.
And eventually I was able to play down there and earn some income through music. But it pretty much, I was down there for about on and off 2 years. And that's when the scorpion bite happened, which was crazy. I mean,
So how did it happen? Did you accidentally step on it? Was it in your bed? How did that happen?
They do like beds. They like anything that folds, like a cloth. Right. I was actually, I was getting out of the shower, and at the time I had dengue fever. It was like this whole thing. And so I was sick. I was showering to cool off, basically, because I was so hot. And in my towel, there was a scorpion.
Oh my gosh.
And it was horrible. It was.
So you had a scorpion bite on top of dengue fever?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Easily one of the worst days of my life.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
How does one overcome that? What is the treatment?
So, luckily, the scorpion that stung me was not a deadly one. So basically, I had a reaction, but I knew I wasn't going to die, which was reassuring.
Big plus. Okay, not dying today.
And then I actually just drank coffee. My friend down there, she was like, you need to just drink like black coffee because your heart, to like keep your heart basically in your body to fight basically the reaction that it triggered. Wow. And so to
metabolize it, is that it?
Maybe. I'm actually not 100% sure.
Okay.
It was, but it could have been, the coffee did work. It helped. And the first part of it was like this pain, it was painful. It was like, felt like a bee sting, but times like maybe like 20. But then you get kind of loopy from, like, I felt kind of like giggly after the, pain subsided. And then, and the next day I actually felt even better. The next day I felt amazing. The dengue felt like it had subsided. And I don't know if it was because the day before was so bad, or it maybe helped me.
Everything pales into comparison. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. All right, so let me follow up on your first second language was German. So that's really interesting. Can you talk about that for a moment?
Sure. Yeah, my dad speaks a couple languages. He's got one of those brains. And so my parents really wanted us to learn, my siblings and I, to learn a second language. And so down the street from us in Virginia, we were living in Virginia, there was a school that taught German. It was like a German immersion school. So yeah, super random.
And neither of your parents were in the service or anything?
My mom and dad actually were in the Peace Corps.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so they both speak French and a little Italian, and then my dad speaks German. He speaks German, so that was fun. It was cool. It was fun to, like, with my sister and I both learned it together, so it was a special.
And so you say that's your first second language. What is your second language?
Yeah, Spanish, because I had to choose in middle school and high school. And so they didn't have German, so I did Spanish. And I was a horrible Spanish student, honestly. It wasn't until I went to Nicaragua that I really learned, more.
Well, when you are immersed, right, everything changes.
Right. It totally is a game changer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let me go back to the 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So last of our 3 questions, what communication advice do you live by?
Oh, yes. I love this question too. It's nice to have these kind of questions because they make you think, like, what is that? What do I care about when it comes to communication? And this is actually something I've learned over the last year from my boss, Vicky Matsis at the radio station, is clear is kind. So being clear is...
I love that.
Yeah, isn't that great? I was like,
oh my gosh.
It's simple, it's true, it's to the point. So that is something I try to practice and keep in the back of my mind.
Gosh, I love that. Okay, I'm literally going to carve that into my brain. That's amazing. Well figured. That's amazing. All right, so now it's time for a shameless plug. Please tell us all about your new album.
Yay! Thank you. So the album is Full Circle. It is coming out on May 4th. It'll be released on streaming platforms. And then we have a release show that's going to be downtown Charleston on May 7th. The show is going to be the entire album performed live. And the album encompasses the plantation singers. So it's a gullah gospel. It's got Cuban and Latin rhythms and Brazilian rhythms. It's also got my guitar. I've tuned it like a kora, so it's got West African influences as well. And the theme of the album is basically exploring the musical connection between the American Southeast, Northeast Brazil, and then West Africa. So yeah, and then travels,
Wow, I can only imagine the sounds. Well, I'm on the pre-order list, I swear.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I appreciate it. I'll definitely send you an invite.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Well, Grace, thank you so much for your time and your good humor and inviting us into your studio.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Snack size food.